There used to be a small YouTube channel called Sam's Online Food Review. It was run by my best friend Sam Ryder, a channel full of videos that consisted of Sam eating and reviewing food and drink before a camera. His channel garnered around 10,000 subscribers, which, although wasn't huge, it was big enough for Sam to be dedicated to it. I can recall numerous times of sitting in the passenger seat of his car, staying out of his shot as moments prior he announced he wanted to video himself trying something he picked up in the store, only moving after he signed off with his signature, thumbs up or down, and his catchphrase, "I like it" or "I loathe it." He was liked for his friendly attitude and happy all-around good guy persona. He was well received by his audience. Rarely were there any hate comments, and when there was, Sam would shrug them off and keep smiling. Sam was always smiling. Sam's Online Food Review went dark 7 months ago. No warning, no notice, just deactivated. I didn't hear or see from Sam despite numerous phone calls and house visits to no avail. 6 days after his channel was deleted, I called the police to do a welfare check on Sam. I was worried he had fallen ill or hurt himself. The police made entry into his property and found nothing, and Sam was declared a missing person. A week after Sam was declared missing, a dog walker discovered a horrifically mutilated corpse on a railway line. The body had severe lacerations all around the head, arms, chest, and legs, and was almost cut in two across the waist. The decomposing internal organs splayed out of the gruesome V-shaped cut. The autopsy report noted that although no direct cause of death could be confirmed, it was likely the large slit in the throat that brought on death. The autopsy also turned up questionable findings, including the body missing its stomach and heart. Long strips of flesh removed off the chest, arms, and lower back, and that the body was exsanguated. The scene wasn't remarkably bloody, yet the body was almost completely drained of blood. 2 weeks later, the police had identified the deceased. Despite the damage that occurred to the corpse, the teeth were intact enough to get a viable reference for dental records. My worst fears for Sam were realized. It was him. The police investigated, but could not find forensic evidence of any other person being on the scene. They eventually came to the conclusion that he was hit by a passing freight train. The lacerations and disembowelment attributed to being dragged under, and the missing organs being explained away as being eaten by wildlife, a fox maybe. Sam's mother decided it was best to cremate what remained of her only son. I stood next to her as the beach coffin was pulled into the large furnace. As the door closed and the gas jets ignited with a whoosh, she broke down into tears, and so did I. I stood there, sobbing for the 90 minutes it took for one of the people I grew up with and shared so many memories was vaporized. I mourned my friend and did my best to move on. And it was going well. I got distracted, got a new job, started dating a girl I met through my work. A few months passed, and even though I missed Sam, things were going well. Right up to the point when I was browsing Reddit at 3 a.m., and I received a Facebook message from the account of my dead friend. I froze, seeing his profile picture in the messenger bubble, a picture taken during good times. Sam's wide smile plastered on his face. I felt a sudden chill. A profound sense of fear enveloped me. You know the fear that makes you cold and your limbs ache as the slow drip of adrenaline spreads throughout your body. With dread, I opened the message. It was a link to a file-sharing website. I stared at the seemingly random amalgamation of numbers and letters that made up the URL, my head racing through what the hell was on the other side of the link, and more importantly, why did my dead friend send me it? My hand, seemingly on autopilot, brought the cursor above the link. With my gut instinct screaming no, I clicked on the link. Before my finger had lifted from the click, I immediately regretted what I just did. Chrome opened a new tab to the website. The screen was gray, apart from a black rectangle in the middle of the page, which had a play button on it. I stared at it, unwilling to click. What I was scared of, I did not know. Around 10 seconds had passed, then the screen refreshed. Instead of the play button, the rectangle had the words "auto playing in 5 seconds" in bright white on it. I watched as the numbers counted down, trying to understand what was going on. An abrupt buzzing noise made me jump. The video began to play. The camera was pointed at what appeared to be a grimy, white, tiled surface. I could hear the sound of muffled whimpering, followed by footsteps of someone approaching the camera. There was some slight rustling noise as the camera was adjusted. The screen blurred out as the camera was turned. When the camera came back into focus, I let out a choked gasp. In the middle of a white, tiled room, Sam lay on his back on a stainless steel table. His eyes were pure, unfiltered terror. The light of a single bulb hanging over the table reflected the sheen of sweat that coated his forehead, his naked chest rising and falling rapidly in panic. He looked into the camera and attempted to yell. The noise, muffled by a tight cloth gag that was bound around his head. His hands were also bound together tightly with duct tape. I stared at the screen, feeling increasingly sick. My brain failing to grasp what was going on before I could even comprehend what was happening. The sound of Sam squirming and whimpering was interrupted by a high-pitched, "Welcome to Sam's Online Food Review. Today we have a special treat." The mocking tone came from behind the camera. Sam's panic increased. He started jerking his body, trying to free his hands. The voice continued, "Today, we will try what is considered a delicacy in many countries, although usually a forbidden one, that is." The camera zoomed out slightly, and a man appeared in the frame, standing in front of Sam. He was dressed in a white coat with a red striped apron on. He wore a butcher's hat and a cloth face mask. In his rubber, gloved hands, he held a large, red-handled butcher's scimitar, and in the other he held a sharpening rod. The man started running the knife up and down the blade in a smooth fashion, the steel on steel making a smooth noise. Sam's panicked, muffled yells grew stronger. The man placed down the sharpening rod and walked around the table. Sam turned his head and started what sounded like a desperate pleading with the man. "Poor little man," the man cooed. "It won't hurt long, and you'll be delicious." Even from here, I could see that tears filled my friend's eyes as he struggled. The man rolled Sam onto his front and pulled his head over the edge of the table. The man then walked out of the shot and returned with a metal bucket. He placed it on the floor below Sam's head. In a swift motion, he grabbed a tuft of Sam's hair and lifted his head and started slitting his throat. Crimson burst from his neck and splashed over the bucket and onto the floor. As I watched this happen, I threw up. I fell out of my chair in horror. I pulled myself away, not able to see any more. I fell again by the door, the speakers of my computer loud enough to hear what sounded like slicing and grunting. I lay curled up in the corner, sobbing amidst a panic attack. The minutes feeling like hours. When the sound stopped, I shakily got up and walked to my computer. Avoiding the pool of sick on the floor, I forced myself to look at the screen. The page had closed, and Chrome displayed the Reddit screen. The Facebook tab had one notification. I didn't want to click it, but I willed myself to. It was a message from Sam. "I like it." I've never been one of those people fascinated by the dark web. As a 16-year-old girl in high school, I had much better things to do. I'd prefer to hang out with my friends and get my nails done than spend all my time on the internet searching for this dark web. One day at school, though, my friend Kelly was telling me about how her boyfriend was dared to go on the dark web. There was some weird stuff on there. He said it was really creepy with videos of cults and sacrifices, Kelly said. "Why would someone even want to see that stuff? It's disgusting," I said. "Yeah, I wouldn't, that's for sure," Kelly said. At lunch that day, all my friends were talking about Robbie's dare and how one of us should do the dare. I didn't say anything as I did not want to even think about having to go on the dark web. Rape, killers, weapons. I knew what was on the dark web and I wanted none of it. Hey guys, maybe Charlotte should do the dare, my other friend Christine said. Heck no, guys. I'm not going on that creepy website, I said quickly. They all started chanting now. Do it, do it, do it, do it. People were starting to stare as I turned red. Finally, after more people started to join in, I gave up. Fine, I'll go on that stupid website, I screamed. They all started to cheer with Kelly saying, Okay, but just to make sure you do, you have to FaceTime me while you're going on. And don't worry, I'll have Robbie send you a link, she said with a smile. I was furious with them but didn't say anything. Who cares? I'll just close my eyes when I see anything bad. They didn't say I had to look, I thought. That night, I got a text from Robbie giving me a link to a website. He also said in the text, good luck. I got goosebumps reading it, but I wasn't going to chicken out as I knew my friends would never let me forget it. I FaceTimed Kelly as I was loading my link onto my computer saying, This is so stupid. Can't believe I let you guys talk me into it. Oh, don't be like that. How about this? You only have to click on one site on the web, and that's it. I'll tell everybody you went on and we'll all have a good laugh, Kelly said on the phone. The link loaded, and I was taken to a black screen with a skull in the middle and a whole bunch of links, all in red. I gulped as I decided to click on the third link. I was taken to some kind of auctioning website. It didn't seem bad at first, but then I read the auctions. The auctions had female names attached to them with a link. I clicked on a random link which had a picture taken from a car of a girl walking home from school. She looked about my age with dark brown hair and green eyes. It had a description underneath that said Tiffany Smith, age 16, high school, Adelante High, parents, Martha and Gordon Smith, hair color, brown, eyes, green, body description, small but packaged with good-sized breasts and small waist, price $20,000. What do you see? Kelly said on the phone. It's some kind of sick auction where they're selling girls, I said in a shaky voice. Are you serious? Call the police right now, she screamed on the phone. I was about to hang up and dial 911. I froze as I saw a name on the top of the list. Charlotte Miller. I freaked out and started to cry. I don't know why I did, but I clicked on the link next to my name. The picture was also taken from a car of me walking home from school. The description said, Charlotte Miller, age 16, high school, Spring Hill High, parents, Cindy and Harry Miller, hair color blonde, eyes brown, body description, excellent body with curvy hips and great sized breast, price $60,000. I screamed and started to cry. Kelly tried to talk to me, but I couldn't hear her. I hung up the phone and ran to my parents' room. They heard me and ran out of their room before I could even come in. I told my dad about the website, which he and my mom checked on. They called the police shortly after. After looking at the website also, they said there was nothing they could do. The link was untraceable, so they couldn't figure out where the website came from. They said they would keep an officer nearby watching my house in case someone came. After that, they left. I slept in my parents' room that night. I didn't get any sleep as the image of me walking home from high school and the description of me were all burnt into my mind. How did they know all this? Were they going to come for me? I thought the whole night. I told Kelly and my friends everything that happened as they all listened in shock. They apologized for making me go on the website and said that we should all hang out after and go shopping to get my mind off what happened. I agreed as we made plans to meet at the mall at 4. I asked Kel if she could walk home with me, but she said she was getting a ride from her mom. Panicking, I called my parents and asked if they could pick me up, but they weren't even home from work as they were stuck in traffic. I somehow got the courage to walk home by myself. As I started walking to my house, "You'll be okay. You're only 15 minutes away from your house and it's the afternoon. No one is going to do anything with people around," I thought to myself as I walked. As I walked, though, I could see out of the corner of my eye a man walking behind me fast. I started to speed up my walking, but he followed and got faster as well. I freaked out and started to run and didn't look back. I ran all the way to my house as I fumbled for the keys to the front door. Just as I was about to put the key in, I felt a prick in my shoulder and the world faded to black. I woke up to find myself in a dark room, lit only by a computer right in front of me. In the computer, I saw that it was on Google Meet with at least 50 people in it. When I tried to move myself, chained to the ground, I screamed and pleaded for help to the computer with no avail. Then, as I looked at the camera, I saw a figure emerge from the shadows. He wore black jeans and a black hood. I couldn't see his face in the dark. He came up right behind me and spoke in a deep voice to the computer. "How much?" I saw in horror as the people in the meet started numbering off prices. 60,000, 80,000, 90,000. The biggest price came shortly after, 115,000. There were no prices named after that. Then the man spoke. "Going once. Going twice. Sold." 2 days later, Kelly stares at the poster in her hand, tears in her eyes as she reads, "Missing, Charlotte Miller." She cries even more as she sees the smiling picture of Charlotte on the poster, looking so happy with her glistening blonde hair and brown eyes. "Charlotte, I'm so sorry." When I was around 20 years old, I was living in Michigan. I always had a big appetite for horror reads. So one day I was reading about some spine-chilling experiences when I came across some stories of people who had found extremely disturbing stuff on the dark web. This intrigued me. I wanted to see what the hype of the dark web was all about. I called a friend and asked him about the dark web and how to access it. He was a bit skeptical at first, but after the call ended, I received a message from him explaining how it worked. I made dinner, took it to my room, and turned on my laptop. I had a gut feeling that this wouldn't end well, but I just ignored it. Finally, I reached the dark web. A lot of notifications popped up on my screen at once. I clicked on one of them, and it was some sort of chat room. They were all talking about the most random stuff ever, and then suddenly, one of them noticed me there, and I got a direct message from someone named Ronald McDonald. The conversation, and what ensued after, was the worst thing I'd experienced in my life. The chat went as follows. "Hey there, newbie. What brings you here?" "Hi. I just wanted to see what the hype was all about." "Oh, you mean the hype of the dark web?" "Yeah." "Oh, don't worry. You'll find out soon enough. By the way, do you want to play a game?" "No, I better leave here as there's nothing much to see here." "Hey, come on, girl. Give it some time. You won't regret it." This should have been the first red flag for me, but I was too dumb to notice it. How would he guess that I was a girl when I had used my boyfriend's name as my username? "Okay. What's the game?" "Two truths and a lie." "Oh, I know that one. Let's do it." "You're going first." "Okay. 2 truths and a lie. 1. I am adopted. 2. I was the first person in my family to go to college. 3. I grew up on an island." "You weren't the first person in your family to go to college. Come on." "How did you know that?" "Well, I have my ways." This message came with a cringy, winking gif. He also sent me an image. I was hesitant to download it and open it at first, but then I did, and I was shocked to see that it was a picture of the college that I went to. "What the fuck, dude? You're creepy AF. How are you doing that?" I was dumbfounded. There was no possible way for him to know about my college, but I didn't want it to stop there. I wanted to check if he was sure, or was it just a lucky guess? "Can I have another turn?" "Sure." 2 truths and a lie. 1. I went to prom wearing a red gown. 2. I can hold my breath underwater for 2 minutes. 3. I am the fur mama of a Shepsky, a German Shepherd, and Siberian Husky mixed breed. Oh, that's easy. Really? Tell me then. I'm waiting on you. I smiled because I thought I had outsmarted him this time. He was taking too long to respond, and it made me believe that the college stunt was just a lucky guess. Didn't you go to prom in a dark blue silk dress? You looked pretty in it, or should I say, yummy. By the way, say hi to the little fella for me. What's his name again? Buddy, if I'm not wrong. He was right about every single detail, and I was freaking out. My hands were trembling. Okay, stop with these fucking tricks now and tell me how you know all this. Dark web isn't that boring after all, is it? Hey, I asked you something. Okay, my turn now. 2 truths and a lie. 1. I am a cannibal. 2. My fridge is stocked with human meat. 3. My next meal will be you. Stop messing around. I know you're trying to play with my head, but trust me, you're doing it to the wrong person. I tried to close the window, but it wouldn't close. This guy had somehow hacked my laptop. Hey, that's cheating. You can't leave the game like this, but it's okay. I'll give you another chance at it because I cheated too. Instead of giving you 2 truths and 1 lie, I gave you only truths. I didn't reply. I was still trying to close the window. I even tried shutting off my laptop, but it wouldn't shut down. You're hacking my laptop, aren't you? Stop it now. You won't find anything on my laptop. Don't be mad. You know what? When you're mad, your body releases adrenaline. And let me tell you some inside info. Adrenaline makes the meat dry, and I prefer my burger patties soft and moist. So please, my happy meal, don't stress yourself. Oh, shut up. I typed, but it appeared on the screen as, Sure, my master. Your wish is my command. I was disgusted to the core. At last, when nothing else worked, I just closed the laptop screen so I wouldn't have to look at all the messages he was sending me, which included all sorts of gifs and pics. But closing the screen didn't stop him either. Somehow, he figured out that I had done it, and he started to send me weird voice messages which kept playing on their own. I will come for you, my happy meal. My happy, happy, happy meal. Happity-bappity meal, he sang. This singing continued for about 2 minutes and then he stopped. This was enough adventure for me, and I promised myself that I wouldn't visit the dark web again. But the worst part was yet to come. So a couple of days passed, and I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of my bedroom door slamming shut. Then I heard loud footsteps running downstairs. I went to the kitchen to grab a knife, but all my knives were gone. That's when I heard sirens. My neighbors had called 911 because they had seen someone trying to break into my house. They described him as a weird-looking clown holding a stack of boxes in his hands. I was scared shitless. To top it all off, I found the boxes and the note stuck to the wall in my room. It read, I'll come again to see you, my happy meal. I spent the night driving around. I did not want to go back to my house. In the morning, I took my stuff and moved out. The event still haunts me, so whoever's reading this, please don't ever go on the dark web searching for fun. It's full of crazy shit.